This is episode 119 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Welcome to episode 119 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today, I have Paula McFarlane and Jake Taylor on the show. You might know their company name, Tartan Developments. Paula and Jake are absolutely crushing it. They previously mentored under Stefan Aarnio, and like many people who have coached under Stefan, they are moving quite quickly, quite aggressively, and they're very savvy. And so today's episode, we talked about development, we talked about infill development, we talked about converting commercial units, converting residential units, and everything in between. So Paula and Jake aren't afraid to get into working with urban planners, working with the city on planning and development to get the use of their building changed. So they actually talk about a specific case study in this episode about how they're dealing with heritage on a fourplex with one unit that's going to be an office space. So it's really interesting to hear from people who have dug into the nuts and bolts and share that wisdom on this show. Paula and Jake keep their options open as to how they're going to create cash flow on deals. And they've got some really good case studies that they shared with me on this episode. And I'm excited for you to hear about that. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from Paula and Jake, and I'm hoping to actually have them on a future live stream. So I've done a couple of these live episodes so far. What I'm going to be looking to do is add in a couple of presentation style episodes, and I think I'm going to have them back for one if we can set up a time and a date that works. Before we get into today's episode, if you could kindly take a moment and hit that like, notification, and subscribe button and leave me a comment and let me know what you think. It just helps more people to find the show. If you're an audio listener, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment and rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts. And if you're new to the show, I recommend you head right back to episode 1 so that you can get really comfortable with the nuts and bolts. We dig into it very heavily in those first 10 episodes. So with no further ado, please enjoy episode 119 with Paula McFarlane and Jake Taylor. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. I have Jake Taylor and Paula McFarlane on the show. Tartan Developments is your company, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Anyways, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. It's nice to finally meet you digitally.
Yeah,
sounds good. Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, do you guys mind just sharing a little bit about what you do as investors? Because I really don't know the full story. I know you're involved in a lot of things. I see your names floating around, but I don't know the story.
A little backstory. So we got into real estate late 2019, kind of full time. I am still working my full time job, but we are working full time. So yeah, it all started. We both wanted to get out of our job. I work as a paramedic, just wasn't working out, and we needed an outlet. We both loved real estate, so we done a few things on our own, like live-in flips and stuff like that at that time. And then we decided, let's do this full time, and wanted to hire a coach. We looked around, ended up hiring Stefan Aarnio in late 2019. Unfortunately, he passed away early. Guess 2020, right?
Yeah.
So we worked with him for a few months, which was great. Really kickstarted us, and so now we're doing a little bit of everything, I guess. Started out doing a couple of flips. We did a couple secondary unit conversions. I think now we're mostly focusing on the 2 units. Cash flow wise isn't really working out for us, so we're looking at bigger conversions. 3 or 4 units, maybe take a commercial building and convert that to residential. What else are we doing, Paula? We're also doing...
We're still doing flips. Like, we like to do flips.
Yeah.
We like that active income, especially because we're trying to get Jake out. So I was a paramedic as well. I was on maternity leave till the end of 2020, and I didn't go back to emergency services. So, and now I'm actually working as a realtor. I kind of started that path just to have like access to information, and because we were planning on flipping, 12, 15 properties a year. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I make that commission as opposed to paying a realtor? Although our realtor was my mom, so it wasn't terrible, but that has turned into like a full-time job now. So yeah.
Are you working for other people too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like,
was that intentional, or that just sort of happened?
It kind of happened. So
happened quickly too.
Yeah. Like a lot of people would see like, hey, I saw you guys on YouTube, and, like, can you be my realtor kind of thing. So, but it's been good. Like I actually really enjoy it. I wish I did it, years sooner, but I don't think that it would have gone as well, not having the investing background for sure. So.
Well, that is a key differentiation. I think that's an important one too. Like, although it's catch-22, right? Because if your realtor is also an investor, they want to take the good deals.
Yeah.
Well, that looks like a good deal. I think I'm going to have to take this one.
Yeah. We have like the majority of my clients are looking for duplex conversions, which I think we've kind of like, I don't want to say moved past that, but we find those numbers very challenging, especially on MLS.
So. We're in London. So yeah, with the purchase price of single family homes and just having the 2 units is the numbers are tough here for us. So we're open to it, but we're kind of moving away from that and just starting to look at, like I said, bigger conversions and also some severances and purpose built builds and new construction as well.
I like it. So you guys got into the technical. Did you learn that through Stefan, or did you already have that sort of underway when you started that coaching?
We had done quite a few live-in flips, and in all honesty, we didn't know any other way to do it. It was like, okay, well, we can buy this house, renovate it, live here. Like we didn't know about financing deals outside of like traditional lenders.
Even when we started, we did a couple like non-live-in flips, and we were able to qualify for the mortgage on that and our primary residence, and just did it that way. But it was like a one at a time type thing, right? And then we had 2 at a time, and we used a partner. So that was kind of like where like our limit was. And then like learning from the coaching and private money and stuff like that is kind of how we started to grow a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you talk about the flips that you're doing, give me an example of the type of house you're looking for, what you're looking to do, and what kind of numbers are in that for you.
Sure. So I like a big transformation. For me, it's like the bigger, the better. So like the crappier the house, the better. Obviously every flipper likes the crappy house, but we're aiming for, like A+ neighborhoods. So we can get away with doing, a bit more of a renovation and still getting the value afterwards. So like we're doing like everything. So we'll do, all new wiring, all new plumbing. It's essentially a brand new house, like a roof if we have to.
Yeah.
We don't really have limits.
We've had pretty good luck with that, but I mean, the market's definitely helped us out the way things are now. I think if we were really to scale like a flipping business, I think we would focus on the kind of like the average home price and be in there, even though London's kind of crept up there now. But I'd say like a year ago, we would kind of, if I think I was going to scale a business, I would shoot for the median price range of like the 400 to 500. But we're a little bit higher than that here in London. The last one we sold for like 650. So kind of that range, but so
what would that
pretty
be?
Big renos.
What would that be? Is it a bungalow, 1,200 square foot? Is it a 2-story? Like what kind of house are you buying as a product to flip?
We don't really have like a limit. Really, it comes down to if the numbers are going to work. So we'll flip anything.
So there have been bungalows. There have been.
Yeah, the last
have
one
you flipped any 3,000 square foot houses?
Not that big yet.
No, haven't done that. They've been.
I do have my eye on a few off market.
Yeah, the biggest one is probably like 2,000 square feet. Nothing major. So.
Or I think it was like 2,400. So, yeah.
Okay. And I noticed you're talking about severances. And I know, Paula, I've even seen you randomly in the London Free Press making a comment on something, and I sent it to you. Yes. I'm like, I was thinking this too. These numbers don't make sense. These laws don't make sense. Like, no one's going to be able to do this. So where did you start kind of digging into the specific bylaws that allow for secondary dwelling units, and looking into the bylaws of, planning and development so that you can start severing lots?
I think we've always just been interested in that. And actually our very first flip that we didn't live in was a flip with a severance. And like growing up, my dad had converted, I grew up in a small town. We had like 150 acres of property behind our house. And my dad turned like the end of the street into a subdivision. Essentially, he subdivided, I think it was like 7 or 8 lots off of it. And so that was just something like that. That's how I grew up. Like that was normal.
So you had some exposure to it.
And when we started kind of our journey, we signed up and we were going to start out flipping, but our goal was always, or for me anyways, has always been like new construction, infill development. and we just kind of grown over the last little bit, and that's kind of where we're focusing now, and it's super interesting. And I think we've learned. We have a couple of projects on the go now that we're using like a professional planner, so he's teaching us a lot. Just like reaching out to you, I reached out to Ryan Carr. I know you've had him on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to get on a call with us, and he helped us out with one of the projects too. So just learning from other people, I guess.
Yeah. It's important to take those opportunities to work with planners. Like anytime I've had a chance to, and I do now a lot, work with planners just in the new construction side of things.
Yeah.
So kind of seeing how they work, seeing the questions they ask, or the things that they see are important. And just like anytime you have an opportunity to get that experience, it sticks with you. Yeah.
It's been great too. And just getting like answers to your questions are, they're a lot quicker with the city and stuff like that. So.
And with their experience, right? We'll see something and be like, is this possible? And he'd be like, oh yeah, I've done a couple in that neighborhood. Yeah, it's possible. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Like for example, we just bought a property and it's a 52-foot lot with the existing house is crowded to the one side. So it leaves two 26-foot lots. And I would have thought, oh no, they wouldn't go for that. Right. 26-foot lot. That's pretty small.
Because for that zoning, I think it says it has to be 40 feet frontage.
Yeah. So we'll need a minor variance, but he said, oh yeah, I've done a couple in that neighborhood just like that. So I was like, well, let's give it a try. Right. So
that's the key part, right? I've had that exact same thought, right? If the bylaw says you need 40 and I've seen lots where there's a house on one side, but I wasn't sure that it was going to work and I've just passed them up. And that's the difference between having that good advice. Like if you could speak with that person and say, oh, you've done this works. Okay, let's try it. As long as you've got a contingency plan, right? You can renovate that house and just resell it if you need to.
Yeah, we didn't buy it for like, oh, we want that lot. It was just kind of like, okay, like once we bought it, saw it, we're like, because when we bought it, honestly, I didn't think it would be possible because I was like, it'd be too small, I think, right? So, and we actually passed on one in that same neighborhood that I was like, oh, no way, like we'll need a minor variance, all this stuff. But that's what I'm learning is that's kind of the norm, right? So we'll need a minor variance on this one. And that if we had bought that one that I passed on, it would have been great. We would have been able to. And that was all about learning.
That was a tear down. So.
So the one you're doing now where you would need a minor variance, do you have a contingency plan if you don't get that?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. It's you go ahead. Sorry.
Well, our initial plan when we bought it was actually to build a coach house at the back of the property on that side. Because we always try, see like, can we convert the house to 2 units? Can we add that 3rd unit? Although London, that was my thing in the London Free Press.
Podcast, I think, for that
one. They're not too keen on the whole coach house thing as a third.
Well, they make it really hard, right? They don't say no. They just make it so hard that you'd be insane to try.
Exactly.
You'd be pushing your business uphill, as Matt McKeever says, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Yeah, like the risk really isn't there. But anyway,
you can build in the backyard though. I've done that.
Yep.
I built a second unit in the backyard.
Plan.
Was yours attached or not attached?
Yeah, I attached it with a 5-foot breezeway. Like just cool.
Nice.
Just to avoid that conversation, because if it's detached, then you need to get site plan approval.
Yeah,
and they're going to want to look at the character, make sure it fits. And anytime anyone says site plan approval, like the juice better be worth the squeeze, because if you're not planning to make a ton of money, it's not worth the headache. And
we actually. It's funny you said that. We just lucked out. We got a call from our planner last week, and he's like, I got good news. So we're converting a commercial building to 4 units. And he said in his experience with the over 3 units, they'll want site plan approval. But he gave us a call and he's like, good news, they don't want to do site plan approval. So we can
go right ahead.
Yeah, we go right ahead just with permits. So
that's insane, because everything I've been told from the city is not a chance. Like even if you want to go for a duplex from a single family instead of converted, because that's different, right? To go to a duplex versus a converted dwelling, which makes no sense to anyone listening. You're like, what? That's the same thing. No, legally those are 2 different things in London. One, you actually need site plan approval and you got to pay development charges. The other, you can just convert.
For sure.
Nonsense. Doesn't make any sense. But here we are, the way they make that work. So let's take a look at the numbers just for a basic flip for you guys, just because I don't want to breeze past that.
Yeah, sure.
So if you were to buy something, like, do you have a recent one you've done?
Yeah, we just closed on one.
It's closing today,
actually. So we can do that one.
To purchase?
We just sold it. Or just closed on a sale. Yeah.
All right. So what did you purchase it for?
So we bought it for $400.
What was it? Like
a bungalow.
bungalow,
1,000
square foot.
Yeah, it's a very small bungalow. We actually bought this one to convert to 2 units. So our intent wasn't to flip this.
And then we're kind of like,
but then the market saved you.
Yeah,
Market
definitely.
saved us,
Definitely.
Yeah.
But we
not
were
that you wouldn't have been okay anyway, but it helped.
We wouldn't have been as profitable, but when we got into it, we are like, oh, it's only going to be it had a, like, long story short, it had a front porch that would have to come off and an attached garage that would have to come off to allow for egress windows. So we would only got 1 bedroom out of it without doing all that. So we are like, let's just renovate it and sell it. So
yeah, but we are kind of quick to do that stuff. We're just like, okay, change of plans. Like, we'll just sell it, like.
Yeah, the numbers still worked, right? So we were like, let's just do that. So so purchase price 400.
Okay.
Reno was 86,000.
Okay. Did that include carrying costs or carrying costs on top?
No, we got carrying.
Carrying costs were 39,000. Carrying and
like lender fee.
Yeah, we use private money, so there's some lender fees there.
Okay, lender, broker, all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, so 39,000 for all that. How long did it take you?
I think with closing it will be 9 months.
9 months. Okay.
So I think the project was like 6 and then 3-month closing.
Yeah, like we started out down the path of the converting it to 2.
So we were a little bit delayed, like a month delayed starting. So the project was 5 months and then 3 months closing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so you had your reno, your carry, so you're in for $125,000 between all that. So 400 buys. So now you're in for 525, including your carrying cost to the point of sale. What did you guys end up selling it for?
This is ridiculous, but we sold it for $652,800.
And what kind of realtor fees are you paying, Paula?
So we pay
still
her.
Pay me.
So with HST, it was $29,506. That was 4%. 2 and 2.
Okay. So let's see here. So you're 623, 294 after commissions. And then if we subtract what you're all in for, the 525, that's a $98,000 profit. 98,000
minus a little bit of like legal fees and stuff. We didn't add that in, but
right. Okay. So you're probably closer to like 97,000. Profit.
So with the market, that one there of like a 20 to 30K profit turned into a 98K. So like when we started,
you were planning 20 to 30K. That was kind of like, is that your bare minimum 20?
Bare minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to be able to move a lot of them for 20 to make sense, right?
Well, yeah. And when we first started, we were like, we're going to do volume. We're going to do 10 to 12 a year. So that gets us kind of our goal for income. But yeah, I probably wouldn't do it for like, unless it says 30 or more, I wouldn't do it. Like 20, because it's easy to spend 10 grand more and then you're screwed, right?
Right. And I remember I used to press Sean Allen, who also coached under Stefan Aarnio.
He's a coach now.
Press him on that. Sean is a coach now?
Yeah, just last week.
Oh, I didn't know he was doing that. That's awesome. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, I guess I didn't understand it. I'm like, why do it for 20? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But when I've pressed him on it, he's like, no, that's an absolute worst case. He's like, if I plan 20 often, I'm making 30 plus. But that's just like, I know, if everything goes wrong, I'm making 20, which is a good way of looking at it. If everything goes wrong and I'm making 20, I'm okay. I think a lot of people would probably try and flip with 20K margin and not even know for sure that they're going to get that.
Yeah, no, 20 is definitely, I think we actually say like 25 is like worst case. And we're like 100% hands off now. So it's 25,000. We literally did, nothing. I mean, we took a little bit of risk on, but we always have like kind of a backup plan. So, if we had to rent it, I mean, single family home is not going to cash flow, but
like rent to own too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think we're realistic too in the sense that if we start doing a bit of volume, there's going to be ones that you don't make money on. There's going to be ones that you lose money on, right? You just want to kind of mitigate that and not lose a ton. So
yeah, I don't ever want to lose, man.
No, we
don't want to.
I think it's bound to happen. I know.
But if you're doing a lot of them, if you're doing 30 and you were wrong on one by a little bit, it's not a big deal.
Right? Yeah.
How many are you doing in a year? Like, how many projects?
So like I said, we started 2020 and we're in the last, what's that been, like a year and a bit? We're June, 13 projects, I think. Not all of which are flips though. So some are flips, some we're keeping.
Okay.
And then, we have 2 new constructions coming. If we get that severance, we have, we'll be doing a purpose-built single family with STU. And then we have a mixed use new construction that we're doing this year too. So
with STU?
SDU, sorry.
Secondary
dwelling.
dwelling.
Sorry.
I was like STU.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so it's actually awesome. You can. I don't think a lot of people don't realize that you can build a brand new construction with the secondary dwelling unit and you get past all that bylaw garbage they have about the 2017 July 31st, however big it was then. You can only do 40% of that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice to have the purpose built aspect too. Like the conversions, like we haven't done a whole lot of them, but you run into like retrofitting something, you run into a whole bunch of stuff, right? And it's just not like ceiling height and all that stuff. It's nice to be able to add the 9-foot ceilings in the basement if you're doing a basement unit.
Oh yeah. Or secondary dwelling unit, you can do it not in the basement. You can have it. You can have it in the side, or you can take up a portion of the side of the house. So I think that certainly from a renter's standpoint, they're probably going to prefer to not fully be in a basement because you get more daylight. But otherwise, you do the raised with 9-foot ceilings in the basement. It doesn't feel like a basement. Yeah, that's awesome. Now you mentioned, Paula, I know you're not too pleased with the prospect of secondary units in London just because of the price point you're buying at, of course, the cost of building them. What do you see happening from here? Like, how do you see growth happening? You guys talk about multi-units. Is that the way to go? What kind of profit are you able to create there, or equity, built-in equity? Do you see opportunity there?
I think there's definitely more opportunity with more units, and that just it's pretty obvious, but like just adding that third unit makes a huge difference. Like you're now actually having, positive cash flow.
Like reasonably positive rate, like not just like $100.
A little bit of money in, maybe not at all. But the struggle here in London is finding properties that you can do that in. So, you have to have either R3 zoning, and pretty much anywhere in London. It's like they went through and was like, okay, that lot is too narrow to be a triplex, so we'll make that R3 zoning. Perfect. So, it's almost like they're purposely don't want, or if you do, you have to go through minor variances, which is never a guarantee. All it takes is, a few neighbors to say like, no, we don't want this. And it could end up at LPAT. So it's risky. It's very difficult to find those properties that conform.
Yeah. Like I have a R3 zoned duplex that literally doesn't even meet the land requirement for a duplex, let alone a triplex. So it's zoned R3. You should be allowed to do a triplex. Can't even do a duplex. If I were to tear it down, I'd have to build a single family home. I think even if I tried to tear it down, I'd have to get a minor variance to build a single family home.
That's it. Yeah. There's a lot that are, the frontage is tough.
The frontage is small. The lot is small, especially downtown lots. And that's where all the essentially mostly all the in London, like all the R3 zonings is kind of congregated around downtown for sure. A little bit of Old East is R3 too, but they're all small.
They're all very narrow. So it's, and some in Old South too, but again, very narrow. So it's tough.
So you got to find a needle in a haystack to be able to find a lot that's big enough to allow for 3 units.
Yeah.
But the challenge is, you could get extra cash flow, but when you do regular triplex zoning, like if you build a new construction triplex, you're paying for 3 units in development charges. So for anyone not familiar with that, development charges are what you pay the city really for no reason at all. I'm going to build a triplex. So they're like, okay, well, pay us $20,000 a unit or whatever it is. I think for a single family home in London right now, it's like almost $40,000. I could be wrong though. I haven't looked at it in a while.
Yeah, I could be wrong too, but I want to say it's like 31 now, but I've looked at a lot of charges
that actually is probably more accurate.
But
it's in the 30s somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot.
It's just a check you're writing to the government, and then you pay your permit fees on top of that, and potentially parkland dedication fees and whatever else, all these fees that they charge you to build. So how are you still able to make the numbers work if you're doing that, or are you finding something that's a duplex and then just paying one development charge to turn it into a triplex? Like, how does that process work?
So we haven't actually found like that scenario. Like I think the best scenario close to that we have is we found it was Driving for Dollars. This big, beautiful, was like a purpose built semi back in 1897, 1874 actually. But it's currently used as office space, but it's zoned R3, which can do up to a 4-plex. And the lot frontage was like, it's 70 feet wide by 200 feet deep. It literally is like it's like the perfect conversion. So anyway, that's probably our best bet, but we will have to pay.
We'll pay through.
No, two development charges, because when it was built as 2 semis, but it's currently used as 1 office now.
Okay.
So we will get away with well, we're going to fight for it to have it count as 2 developments, and then we'll have to pay 2.
And that was the one that we just got news that we don't need site plan. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Especially you're converting from commercial use to residential. What happened to London? They're just all of a sudden okay with this now?
I don't know. It's the first one.
We're not questioning it.
Yeah,
we're just gonna run.
Yeah, we'll see. We have the other one going on. We're trying to do a mixed use new construction, but the property there is a single family and it's heritage.
Which we
designate. No,
it's not. It's
not designated, but registered or something, or listed or whatever. So we're gonna see. They might make us keep a wall or so of that one. But
is it in a heritage area, or it's actually on the list?
It's on
protected.
It's in a heritage area, so it's like right downtown. It's Piccadilly like, and St. George.
Yeah, it's like falling apart too. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's silly when that stuff happens.
Well, we didn't know that it was heritage, so like it came on the market, wasn't holding offers. We basically jumped at it. Mm-hmm. Like the area itself, it's got BDC zoning, so like it has tons of uses. It was just a very cool property. So anyway, we got it under contract, and we had a conditional offer on it. We got really lucky actually. So he couldn't get a hold of the seller. So he signed it back to us, changing the irrevocable, and gave us like 36 hours. So like, this is like, I don't even know when this was.
It was
January or February. So it was like super, super hot market. And now we have you're giving us like more time to make the decision here. So we called our planner and, kind of came up like our worst case scenario, and does that work? And it did. So anyway, we checked. So London has like a list, a register on the website
list. Yeah.
So we've checked the list and it's not on there. So we're like,
but it's in the area.
Perfect. There's also a map.
There's a map.
Check.
Yeah. I checked that map. I've spent time on
we checked the map now.
Yeah.
So we weren't anticipating, maybe like having to deal with heritage. And like, I love saving old houses. Like I absolutely love to. I would save all the old houses if I could. But this one has like, I do not have that feeling here. Like this one has like zero. This one has like zero heritage attributes.
Like
I don't know. It's a little cottage, Ontario cottage, but
it's,
I did an Ontario cottage, heritage protected. I did one of those.
Yeah.
So it's falling apart. It's like crawl space foundation. So it's
Well, it's been vacant for probably 10 years. If you Google map it, you can't even see it. I sent it to someone and they're like, oh, you bought a jungle, because like she street viewed it and it was like just all bushes around it. Like we didn't even know it was there, and we know the city pretty well. So
yeah, but going back to on that one too, just like we're using a planner on that one, and super imperative, because we would have been lost without the planner.
Yeah.
So
like our first plan was to do 2 units in the house and add a coach house. Then they were like, no, you can't do a coach house. It can only be in an existing structure.
Yeah. And we were going to try for minor variance on because you're familiar with the 40%, but then that 40% has to accommodate both the secondary and extra unit. But we're going to do minor variance and try that. But they were like, no, you can't do a dwelling in a new structure. Like it has to be an existing structure to be detached. So we were like,
but you can do it as an addition. But
but not a third unit.
Yeah, so we were talking like third units, right?
Yeah.
And this was kind of like when we purchased this. This was when all that stuff came out. London had it written in their official plan, but it was kind of like vague. And we were like, oh, let's do this. It's coming.
We were ready to
just
start putting them in like all of our 2-unit properties. We were ready to start throwing the third.
Let's do this.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, I don't think that's happening anytime soon. So
that's why London basically just does it because the province mandates that they have to, but they don't really want to do it.
100%.
So they make it hard. They don't 100%. Want you doing it.
Yeah.
I emailed every counselor and the mayor, just like I was trying, because I don't think they fully understand what they're asking in their bylaw. Like I don't think the counselors have any clue, and they don't, because when they replied to me, it was like, no, that you're missing the point. And I think only 5 got back to me, and it was pretty clear though that. Like they don't want it.
Yeah.
I just want to compare when you're closing something. I remember like anytime I've ever written an offer and got it accepted, I get this like queasy feeling. Oh, did I check everything? Did I?
Yeah.
What if I missed something and really just screwed myself? Because I've made so many mistakes. Maybe you guys can't relate to that, but so I as my protocol, I will check the heritage list. I'll be checking, is there any indication this is heritage? I'll Google the address and type in marijuana and see if there's a list somewhere.
For sure.
I've done that. Accidentally bought one of those one time and then found out 2 days before closing when the title insurer for me found the listing of the grow up and said they won't insure it. That's actually why I didn't buy it. Otherwise I would have bought it and I would have got myself into trouble. So just little things like that. So making sure that I Google the property, if there's any people to ask, if you got a planner or whatever. Do you guys have a similar process that you're following every time you're buying something?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. I mean, some are probably less, but when they're downtown, we do a very thorough, although obviously not thorough enough on this one that we got, but we did not know about this map. I thought the list was like,
all inclusive for sure. Yeah.
But it's not updated. So
we go through.
You got to watch out for is the Blackfriars area. They have the same thing.
We avoid conservation. Avoid.
Yeah.
Like if it says
floodplain,
don't even bother.
That's the other thing on my tick list. I've done so much in the floodplain though. I know Mark's no sell in Upper Thames and so you get to know these guys and you kind of figure out what you can do, what you can't.
We just avoid. We actually had a really
bad experience with Upper Thames. Just it was a personal property, but it was a pain in the butt, so we just kind of avoid that now.
But I mean, what you are avoiding is still an opportunity, right?
For sure.
I did a heritage property in the Upper Thames floodplain.
That's
and it was my most profitable deal ever.
Nice. Yeah, but we kind of look at that stuff too. We'll go like you run your numbers, you check zoning, like heritage, obviously, conservation authority, all that stuff for sure.
Yeah, because it's helpful because the city has these, in most cities do, like an interactive map that shows you the floodplain, it shows you the heritage protected areas, and you can see the different zones and click on them and see what they are, and then click to the write up so you can read it and interpret it. So there's obviously it's work, but you can do it, and a lot of people don't want to do it. So there's the opportunity
for sure
if you're willing to become an expert in it. Yeah,
absolutely.
So what's the plan with this one that you're working with a planner on? What's the plan there?
So we have two that the severance we're using a planner, but that's pretty simple. The 4-unit conversion that Paula mentioned was a large commercial building, putting 4 residential units in. The planner's just helping with that.
That's not the jungle one? Which one?
No, the jungle. So the jungle one, so back to the jungle one. It was initially we were going to do rebuild the existing single family home with a secondary dwelling and then do a coach house on the property for a 3rd unit. That kind of got scrapped. So now we're doing, the zoning allows for a mixed use. So we're going to do hopefully 3 residential units and 1 office space. And we're going to use the office for ourselves. So that's the plan right now. They're drawing up concept drawings and presenting it. So
is that not the heritage one? The one in the jungle?
It is. Yeah. But our planner said it's a listed property. So we likely won't be able to tear it down, but we will be able to do a major renovation. So. Okay,
so it's set up with a storefront already?
No, it's a single family home. It'll be like basically brand new, and I mean, I don't know what it's gonna actually look like, but I envision basically the office space is just to satisfy the zoning. So we'll do a small office space and then kind of cantilever over, so we have the units above and more room. And then parking is an issue too. So
we'll need a amount of variance for parking as well, but there is a decent amount of spots.
You guys are fearless. So you're just ready to do all this.
No, this one was like,
Well, once you buy it, what do you do, right? So
you gotta make lemonade now.
Yeah, but no, it's a good opportunity. We'd like to do something that's pretty neat architecturally too. So we're pretty excited about it.
So you're using a planner on your typical project, like say the one that you're going to convert the into a 4-plex, or you said it was commercial. You're going to create it into 4 units, or potentially only 2.
That'll be 4.
Yeah,
that'll be 4. Okay, so that one, can we go through the numbers and what that's going to look like, and then what the planner's cost is in all of that?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. Yeah. So we don't have we'll just do rough numbers just because we're just waiting on permits on that. So
what'd you purchase it for?
Was it 960?
Okay.
We got a 90% vendor take back.
Oh, nice. Was this a listed property you said?
No, this is a driving for dollars.
Oh, okay. That's how you make that one work. Okay, so we won't talk about financing yet, but we will build in the cost of the financing. So what kind of reno are you figuring there? Like what kind of cost to do everything you want to do?
It should be around
250.
250, yeah.
Okay. So 250. And
yeah, the building's
then,
in really good shape. It's just a matter of, it's actually already like firewalled all the way up from the, when it was built.
Okay.
So we'll just be creating those two, or those 4 separate spaces. So.
Okay. So what will your carrying cost be, do you figure?
Oh, geez. I don't even know.
Well, it actually won't be too bad at 4.5%. I forget what
You're
it is.
doing,
I
yeah,
wanna
you're
say,
doing a
like,
cheaper mortgage.
Yeah. It wouldn't have worked like with the private money that we use. It would have been
we wouldn't have been able to do
yeah, because we typically pay around 4% right off the top. So 964%, that's a huge amount. So
Well, that would
Yeah.
be 38,880 in a year at 4.5% if you're
Yep.
doing 90% of your purchase
Yep.
price. And then
Yep.
you would have some taxes as well for the year. So say if it took you a year, you'd have, I don't know, what, 5,000 a year for taxes there?
Well, actually,
Andrew, interesting thing. Commercial tax is insane. I think it's
it's 20,000.
20,000.
But we can convert them back to residential, but
Yeah.
they won't let you do it until
you're
the
done.
project is done. So
Okay. So 20, so you're about $60,000 in carrying costs then, we'll say,
Yeah.
including an allowance for some insurance there.
Yeah.
So we'll just call that 60,000. And then what do you figure you're going to pay the planner to do all their work?
That'll be between 5 and 7.
5 and 7. And does that include any special reports? Like, do you have to do a traffic study, a noise study, any of that stuff?
No,
well, you're not doing
thankfully,
site plan, right?
no,
That's
we
right.
got, yeah.
So you're just going straight to zoning and just making the
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were doing all that stuff, what do you think you'd get into?
I think he said it could be up to like 12,000.
Okay. That probably wouldn't include their studies though. The studies
No,
would be on top of
No,
that.
studies
just
would
his
be on top of
his
that.
work. Yeah.
Like if you wanted to do a noise study, do you know how much you'd get into? Would it be like $1,000 or?
I don't even know because we just looked into this for another project too,
Yeah.
and I'm not really sure.
Yeah, or even traffic studies, all that stuff. I
Feel like those are going to be a few thousand at least.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
honestly, the only experience we've had with studies was on a conservation property, and it was like well over 30,000 with everything that they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, you just
Yeah.
don't want to get into that. It's better if you're going to get into all that, do it on a big project because the cost will be the same. You'll pay the same amount for like 40 units versus for 3.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people don't try and tackle that for the small houses. Okay, so if you were $7,000 then for a planner, let's just sum this all up. So you'll be in for about 1.277 million. So 1,277,000. What do you figure? Well, for one, are you going to keep that?
Yeah, this is a bit of a passion project. So we're going to leave some money in this one and
Right.
keep it. And the plan now is probably going to try and B&B all the units. It's a good location.
Okay.
It's what's a major intersection there?
It's Princess and Waterloo.
Princess. Oh, so like downtown
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think the value is when you're done?
I think we said we'll have to look at our things. I want to say it was like we said 1.7, 1.6, 1.7.
1.6 probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably a little far fetched, but
The one thing about this property is that it's in the middle of a lot of larger buildings. So our plan is to get it up and running as 4 units and then go for a rezone and try for 4 more units, which we would add on at least 4 more units.
yeah, we'll see.
So what do you figure you're going to refinance that one at? Or are you going to refinance it?
Yeah.
1.5, 1.6.
I think it was higher.
Was it?
Okay, so say you got 1.6 and you're going to get 75% of the new value?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you'll be at 1.2 mortgage, so you'll have about $77,000 left in that.
Yeah.
If that sounds about right. Okay, let's go through what you think you would earn on something like this.
Paula, I'll let you take this one. She's got some
Yeah,
some
I
good
don't even
plans
have
for
a
this.
calculator here, but
Oh no, I have the calculator here. I'll just ask you some
but I'm
basic
just trying
questions.
to figure out. So, like when we run our estimate for Airbnb, like we go really light.
Yeah.
Like when I do the numbers, I'm like, okay, $100 a night, which is ridiculously low. Like these will be, like,
At
these
full
are nice.
occupancy, or you'll do 100 a night
I'll
at like
do,
20.
So I'll do 70%.
Okay.
Occupancy.
So equals 100 a night times.
Or
We'll call it 30 days in a month times 0.7 is it
Yeah.
70%, and then times 4 units.
that's-
So that's about 8,400 a month.
yeah, I think
on average.
whatever we were doing before, I think
So
were
we
about,
had
like
like
12,000.
You had 12,000? Okay.
yeah, I think we had let's see here.
I'll just adjust it. Yeah. So 12,000 is your estimate monthly.
because we figured long-term as a long-term rental, they're going to be like 2-bed, 2-bath units, each one.
Mm-hmm.
We figured like these are going to be like luxury units, 2,500 a unit for long-term. So then we figured, obviously a little bit more for Airbnb.
I think we had around like 14,500 for B&B.
14,500. Oh, if you did like just like a short term.
Yeah, short term rent. Yeah.
Okay. Whereas you'd be closer to the more like 10,000 if you did longer term Airbnb.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have it at 12,000. We'll sit it there for now. Taxes, once you've refied, you're going to be probably $6,000 or something like that.
No,
I think
we
figured
9.
like 8 or 9 just to be on the safe side.
I like conservative. Insurance, maybe 3,000 for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Maintenance, I'm going to say 5% maybe.
Yep.
That's going to be 7,200 a year. You're going to have some other costs associated with running it as an Airbnb if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But okay, so water on an annual basis, what do you think? $2,000, 2,500?
Yeah. We're going to split everything too, just so we can do set it up for long term as well. But if we're paying it all, probably around there.
It's a lot to split water meters out. You have to pay like a frontage fee for every single water meter that you have. It could be like $40,000 if you want 4 separate ones instead of 10,000. Like something stupid.
We'll definitely be splitting gas and
split gas and hydro electric. Okay, so management, that's the thing that's going to be a bit more expensive if you're doing Airbnb, right?
Yeah. So
are you going to self-manage?
We probably will self-manage this one, but we usually use like for long term we use the 8%.
Okay. But I'll just throw that in there. And then you're going to have some miscellaneous, probably like $1,000 a year for just supplies and whatever needed for that. Lawn cutting, you're going to have to do all that, right? Lawn cutting and snow removal.
Yeah. Like 1,200 a year, maybe.
Okay. All right. So that puts us, those are good numbers. You're at like a 6.79 cap rate. Your DCR works really well, which is the debt coverage ratio a bank would use for anybody who's not familiar with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what your mortgage would look like. You'd probably be a 25-year, right? Unless you refinance with like CMHC insured and get a really good deal.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that too much. But
we'll probably just go for, like, in all honesty, I would probably push for 30 year.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll do that. Usually commercial, they'll limit you with 25. Actually, the other thing is because you actually have a store or like an office space, they may want to actually knock your loan to value down. They may want to get you.
This is a different one. This is all residential. Sorry.
Oh, this one's all res?
Yeah, this one's all res.
Sorry, I was confusing them. You guys got way too much on the go. So for this one, being all residential, okay, so we'll say fourplex. You could actually finance that with the bank then, just regular bank financing. So 30-year, 2.2 or so percent, maybe to be conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So your net monthly cash flow on this building that is now 1.6 million, your net cash flow would probably be around $4,000 a month, 4,100.
Is it that much?
Well, that's as Airbnb.
Oh, as your Airbnb model, right?
Yeah, because we figured
it could be more, right? If you get the 14,000, then it could be even more, or if you're down to 10, then it could be a little less. But it looks like there's a good buffer. And then if we want to look at the return, your annual pay down is like 32,000 on that mortgage at a 30-year. And if it's 3% appreciation, that's 48 grand a year. It's increasing in value. So you're like $130,000 a year return on this with 50,000 being cash flow, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
that sounds like a great investment.
And it's, our goal is not to own like 100 doors or anything like that. We just kind of want to have like a handful of like cool properties. That's kind of our goal.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, I don't know if that's right, but
I've always been like that. Yeah, quality over quantity.
Exactly. And this building is beautiful, and it's not going to be a perfect BRRRR, but it's going to be one we want to pass on to our kids and keep forever. So
yeah, but if you look at it, you got $77,000 into it. You're getting a fantastic return on your money.
Yeah, exactly.
Your money is returning. What does that work out to be? If I actually put what your down payment is here, so 77,000. So you're getting more than 100% on your money. So that's not bad. I mean, if you got to put money to work at 100% plus, that's okay.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like you guys are really savvy. Like you know what you're doing, you know your market really well. Obviously that didn't happen overnight, right? You guys put in the hard work for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've actually looked at other markets, and it kind of like just to kind of branch out, and it's tough to feel comfortable in those markets, right? Like whereas London, we're familiar with all the areas of town and values and stuff. So it's tough to branch out because we actually looked at branching out to do to a city that allows the coach houses, but it's tough. It's tough to.
It's just
you have to learn
unfamiliar,
everything,
so-
right?
You have to learn everything.
You have to start from scratch, and I know the exact feeling because London is my investing home, and to go somewhere else and learn everything from scratch sucks. It's just
and
so
we don't
much
have
work.
time, honestly. It's
that's
it's
another
tough,
thing.
so.
Like we've gotten really good this year at delegating. So like our focus and for our business is we find deals and we raise the money. Like that's it. That's all we do. Everything else somebody else does. Like
So
pretty much everything else.
Any
There's a couple things in
bookkeeping
there
or
and stuff,
anything like that. Like it's just like, well, for one, I hate bookkeeping. Like I would never do it. I would just sit because I hate doing it. So like stuff like that. We just made sure we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, and we made sure that we found strong people to take over our weaknesses. So
that's awesome. And what about as far as trades go? Have you found a general contractor that works really well, or are you guys GCing it yourself, or how you?
No, when we first started, we GC'd ourselves, and it wasn't. It's not my strong point. I don't think. Wasn't super efficient. So now we have three companies, contractors that we use. And so far so good. They've all been really great. So
where'd you find them?
So one was pure fluke. He dated like a step cousin and overheard us talking about a flip at Christmas. And he reached out and was like, oh, I have a contracting company. Like, let me know if you need a hand. And we were like, okay, yeah, sure. We'll have you come and we'll meet you kind of thing. And then once we met with them and he went over a project with us, we were like, this guy's good. Like we got really lucky with him.
So we've used him for like a year now, and he's been amazing, like absolutely amazing. So
do you give a detailed scope, or do you guys just have a working understanding of what it is you're looking for? I mean, how does that price work?
We're kind of like boring in the terms of like, he knows like we're going to use, this material here. Like we have everything down now. Like we use all the same stuff we have like for flip quality and like our rental quality. And so like really he knows he can just kind of run with it. And then he'll ask us if there's something, I don't even know, like something unusual, like. Yeah.
So we'll bring him in and he'll give us like a rough, like when we're about to purchase it or before we purchase it, he'll give us a rough idea on costs. And then if that works for us, we just go ahead and he's fair, honest with his pricing. So we just, he'll just invoice us. We don't quote the whole job. Yeah. We have another company that quotes the whole job too. So
yeah, you know what? I almost like that. I know so many people want this certainty. I mean, for me, it's hard to articulate every last detail that we're going to want to do.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, how could I even believe a final number that they give me? What if they open up a wall and they find something, right?
Yeah.
Like, they
Exactly.
There's
don't
always
know
something
any more
at the
than I
end that you
do.
need. Yeah.
I also feel like when you get that whole price up front, they're creating that buffer for themselves so that they don't, so like
Right.
how big of a buffer are they creating there? So if we were doing it, piecemeal, could we get that down a bit?
I think that there's money to be saved by doing it in
for sure.
piecemeal, but it depends on how they price. I mean, I prefer just the transparency of knowing, what they want to make. If they would just be honest about that. I mean, some of them kind of get at that. Like most of the people who work for me, I know what they'll bill on an hourly, but it doesn't mean they won't price me on jobs. But I kind of, if it's a simple job that they can price, I'm fine with that. If they can do it really fast and it's worth more, then I'm fine with that.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I try and make it a win-win, right? Because then they're happy. They want to work with you, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And like our big thing is quality. Like I have pretty high standards. Like it has to be pretty close to perfect, especially on the flip.
Yeah.
I mean, rentals too, but I'm like a little bit more lenient that way. But when it comes to a flip, it has to be spot on. So we're pretty picky with who we work with. And
like as we've grown a bit, like we've started like branding and putting our name on things. It's just an anonymous people doing the work, right? So we've kind of put our name on things, and we want the quality to be top notch for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it seems like you guys are making waves. Is there anything you'd like to share? Just, kind of before we wrap up here, words of wisdom, thoughts that, for the various listeners and viewers that are watching this episode?
Paula, words of wisdom?
I think honestly, like just like jump in and do it. I mean, don't just jump in, like run your numbers, jump in and do it. Get get experts to help you. There's lots of people who will help you. There's lots of videos on YouTube, podcasts, like all this stuff. There's so much information out there. For us, like coaching was a huge factor for us. We wouldn't be where we are today without coaching. And for us, we wanted speed, like we're a little bit older. We're not in our 20s. We're, almost 40. We have a goal of getting Jake out of his job now, is both of us out, but now Jake out of his job by the end of the year. And so our thought process was, how can we do this the fastest way possible and making the least amount of mistakes possible? So.
Well, it seems like you're doing a good job of it, especially in a very difficult market like London, where everything's just going up in price so much. So
it sounds like still opportunity. You just have to maybe work a little harder. Yeah.
You got to drive for dollars a little bit more.
For sure. Yeah.
So when you're driving for dollars, you're just taking down addresses and looking them up, or are you? So because you can look up who owns it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but our youngest kids, we have 4 kids. Our youngest 2 would only nap in the car. So I did a lot of driving for dollars. I would put them in their car seats, go for a 2-hour drive around the city, and just have my phone on notes and talking to my phone. So I have a list like this, like a huge list.
That's awesome. So you just segment your week and you have a certain portion of time that you use for following up on those leads?
Yeah. And we kind of shifted to looking for multifamily. So if I see, 2 meters or 3 meters or whatever, like those are the ones that I'm targeting. I mean, obviously if I still see like a good potential flip, I'll go after that too. But I find that the multifamily seems to be a little bit easier, because I think you get a lot on landlords who are like, I'll sell now. Like, like the market's going crazy.
They know the market's great. So they want to get some cash out.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I don't want to have cash. Like I'm getting more cash out. Like I want to get it to work in something else, because all my stuff is student rentals. So I've been selling off some of that to put into stuff that's, maybe hedged against if school doesn't start up next September.
That's a whole other story too, eh?
We didn't go down that rabbit hole today.
No, I thought we were gonna.
I think I do that enough. I think I do that enough.
I love it.
Anyways, where do people reach you if they want to follow up and learn more?
So I'm relatively active on social media, mostly Instagram. So we're at Tartan_developments. And then our email is info@tartandevelopments.com. And we have a website too. So my last name's McFarlane, Scottish background. My grandma always made sure that we had a piece of McFarlane tartan. So,
okay.
And I like it. It's like, it's strong. That's
a pretty good name.
I think too, like, I always think of like, it's like, every family has their own unique tartan. That's like, all these pieces woven together to make like this unique family brand. And for us, we wanted to build single family homes. So it kind of works.
That's deep.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of
like, so it'd be like tartan was a pattern cloth consisting of
I didn't know that either.
Plaid is tartan.
I didn't know that either.
I
didn't know.
So, no, either did I.
Yeah, but we
sounds
always
better than
had
plaid.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we always tartan is like the proper name for it, I guess. But my grandma always made sure that we had something tartan. Like everyone had, we always had kilts growing up or a scarf or something. So it just, I don't know, it's familiar, and I think it's a strong.
Awesome. No, it sounds.
She named it, obviously. So
yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys still coaching under Aarnio's outfit with a different coach?
Yeah, we're with Razna.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm not familiar with all of them, but I have spoken with a few of them. I spoke with Stefan as well. I had the fortunate opportunity to speak with him at one point.
Sure.
So
and we have a business coach too and consultant, Elizabeth Kelly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're working with Elizabeth.
She's helping us with some stuff. So
nice. Yeah, I mean, you guys are off to the races when you're getting all that wisdom. It's hard to screw it up. So not that you're not doing a fantastic job, but
no.
you stack the odds in your favor when you get all this great wisdom, and you guys, like, listening to you talk, like, so much, you clearly know your game, which is it's awesome. I really like seeing that. In fact, I'd like to have you guys, like, I'm trying to figure this out because I've been doing some live episodes. I'd like to have maybe you guys, if you're open to it, come do a talk one day on, topic about building your business and what you're doing, and, teach a strategy if you're open to it.
Sure.
We can talk about that another time.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll chat about that, but thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone listening is going to get a lot out of this.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks
Love
for
your
having
podcast.
us. Yeah, we do.
Thanks for having us on. Yeah. I look forward to every Sunday.
All right. Well, my pleasure. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Please make sure to share this episode far and wide. Help it help more people. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks. I'll see you on the next one.